2 days in a row coming in with some hooks, some left hooks, some uppercuts, some jabs, you name it. I'm making it happen this morning. Good morning, everybody. On this Tuesday, November 12th, right on the dot at 8 a.m. Welcome to the Sleewa Show. Thank you very much for hanging out. We got a fun show today. Great show, ready to go today, and very, very excited to have a guest on today. Very appreciative of his time today. Mychal Thompson, MT, is going to join the show in a little bit here, so stick around for that. What is going on, everybody? Good morning. Top of the morning to you. Grab your cup of coffee. We got some steam here. Is the steam showing? I don't feel like the steam shows enough. Yeah, I have no idea if it's showing, but I just know that this is a brand new, fresh brew that's ready to go here. Let me go live on Instagram. We're live on Instagram now. Instagram never gets to see the jabs or anything because by the time I get to Instagram, I'm already done with all that stuff. I'm already winded too. All right, we got a lot to get into today. I'm going to actually start off top of the morning to everybody here. Everybody just doing the happy Tuesday, top of the morning. People kind of all joining in. I gotta take something back that I said last week. So I want to start off the show with this. I had it all the way down here, public transportation part 2. Yeah, last week I was complimenting. By the way, let me just kind of get this out of the way real quick. Mychal Thompson's going to join in about 10 minutes or so. I'll talk a little bit about that Rams loss yesterday and what that does in the NFC West, so something to keep in mind there. Passing a John Robinson, more just kind of the history and what he meant to specifically to the Rams and to USC. So we'll do a little bit of that as well. And then I got some Lakers stuff that I want to get into and a lot of questions from Mychal Thompson I'm going to get into. All right. If you guys got thoughts, if you guys got any questions, anything like that you want to put in, go ahead and put it in here. Let me get to my public transportation part 2. Really, really nice to be back in the studio today. Got to be honest with you. You know, sometimes you got to kind of make things work. So I'm in the process of that. But when I'm in here in the studio, it just kind of feels like, all right, we put together a proper show here. I don't got to worry about certain things. So it's great to be back here. So I think I mentioned to you guys last week. You guys remember last week when I was complimenting the Metro? And then I was complimenting Amtrak. I was giving everyone compliments. I went back up to LA on Friday. So I was up there in Pasadena and I took Amtrak from here, no problem. Got all the way up there. Amtrak was clean. It was nice. People were smiling. They were waving. One of the people from Amtrak, hey, can I get you a glass of wine or a beer? I'm like, what the hell is going on here? This place is amazing. Then I get down to Union Station in LA, and then I get on the Metro. All right, I just go from one track to the other. Metro comes. Mr. Sleewa, please take a seat right here. I'm like, sure, no problem. No problem. High-fiving different people. Shaking hands, kissing babies. I'm like, this is great. Drops me off Fillmore down in Pasadena. No problem at all. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing back down to San Diego. Let's do the exact same. Let's get on the Metro from Fillmore, and then let's kind of work our way back down to San Diego. I'm like, okay. So I start looking, so I start looking at some of the Amtrak trains and what time are they coming down. All right, okay, 3 o'clock sold out. Okay, I didn't know that. It sells out on Veterans Day. Okay, all right. 5 o'clock sold out. Jesus Lord. All right, what time are we going back to San Diego? 6 o'clock. I'm going to get on the 6 o'clock. You know what? Let's just buy a coach. Let's just there's not going to be that many people on there. So I get to Fillmore. Fillmore is Metro. I got to take it down to Union Station, get down to Fillmore. Just kind of sitting there. It's about 5:15. And a lot of people there. I'm kind of telling myself, I'm like, why the hell is everybody here? Doesn't this thing run like every 10 minutes or something along those lines? Okay. All right. Little problem with the track. No problem. Might be 15, 20 minutes behind. Okay. No problem. 5:40 comes around. I'm like, train's leaving at 6:10, guys. 5:50 rolls around. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make the train. Finally get on the Metro down at Fillmore. And let's just say it was kind of an interesting experience. You know, why is somebody putting their full bike taking up 3 seats? Full bike taking up 3 seats. Got to be honest with you. This individual, I wasn't going to tell him you should move your bike. I wasn't going to do it. If somebody else wanted to do it, I'm down to listen about how that situation went. Me personally, probably not going to do it. There was one guy that was taking up 2 seats because he was sleeping, and then across from him was his bike that took up 3 seats. He had 5 seats. I don't know if he paid for 5 seats, but I'm just going to tell everybody, I'm probably not going to tell him that he didn't pay for 5 seats. I kind of let that one go. All right, by the time I get down to Union Station, it's about 6:30. My train left 20 minutes ago. Okay, when's the next train? It's at 8:10. Okay, we're gonna have to go ahead and wait till 8:10. Get on the train there at Union Station. Um, are people just not going to pick up after themselves? Why don't we do this? Just I'm gonna throw this out to society, and you guys just tell me if this is a good idea or not. If you have trash, just throw it away. I don't think I'm asking for too much here. I think I don't know how you guys are. I've talked about this before. If I go to a baseball game, whatever the hell I ordered, that ends up in the trash. Like, I'm not just leaving that for everybody. Maybe peanut shells are hitting the ground. Yeah, I would just be nice, for society. Hey, you got a wrapper there or a water bottle or a soda or anything else that you can possibly think? Yeah, probably just use the trash can. There's trash cans everywhere. Got back about 10:30. Not exactly the best experience. Not going to lie. So whatever that experience was about me really, really, really enjoying and appreciating the public transportation on my way up. Yeah, not exactly the same thing on my way back down. So that was my public transportation part 2. I had to make sure that if I'm going to tell everybody how my public transportation was and how great it was the first time around, well, I got to tell everybody as well. Round two, not as good. Not as good. Literally, the guy, he had his bike. Listen to me when I tell you this. There's 3 seats on the Metro. He had his bike covering all 3 seats. I kind of looked at him, not very long, but I kind of looked him in the eyes, and he looked at me in the eyes, and I was like, no, that bike's going to stay right there. Absolutely. I think it's a great place for you to put your bike. No, I prefer standing up, and all these other women that are around too, they prefer standing up as well. My bad. Your bike needs the 3 seats. All right. Well, that kind of gives everybody just an idea of what exactly that ride was. All right, let's get a couple of these here. Public transportation. Nah, listen. I'm a fan of public transport. I don't mind. I don't take it often, but there are times it's incredibly clutch, and I want to make it happen. And last night, yeah, not exactly the best experience there. You're steaming up the screen, Slee. Okay. Oh, wow, Mychal Thompson. Yeah, MT's coming on. I got to be honest here. I tell the Mychal story now. I tell him when he's on air. Mychal is kind of one of those Michael's kind of one of those guys. How do I put this? Mychal at times just I kind of take a second. I'm like, that's a good man right there. It's a good man right there. I appreciate him coming on. All right, let's get to a couple more of these, and then we'll get the show started. So this is one thing that I will say save the planet. I don't even know if it's save the planet. I'm just talking about literally just throw your trash away. That's all. Just throw your trash away. Okay. We'll start off the show, and I'm going to start just because I don't want to start with the Rams, and then it's kind of quick here. But I will just mention this. Rams lost yesterday. Put themselves in a weird spot. If you'd have told me of all these games that the Rams had coming up, they're at Seattle, they got the W. They started the season out 1-4 or 1-4, and kind of start looking at, this is probably not going to be a Rams season, but you know what? Go look at the rest of the NFC West. No, don't go make a trade. Why are you going to get rid of guys like Cooper Kupp and some of these other players? Don't do that. It's the NFC West. The San Francisco 49ers, until they get healthy, and they're starting to get healthy, they're going to need a second. Are you really concerned about the Arizona Cardinals at 6-4? Yesterday's loss for the Los Angeles Rams, really bad loss. Kind of unexpected. 2-6 Miami Dolphins. Your game is at home. All the momentum is with the Rams. They've won 3 games in a row. They put themselves right back in the picture of the NFC West. They're still right in the thick of the NFC West. It's not like, all of a sudden their chances are done. But I thought Troy Aikman said something last night that I couldn't agree more with. He said something to the effect of, Rams are going to remember this loss. You're going to look back at the season, and somebody, whether it's Sean McVay or it's Matthew Stafford or one of these other players, they're going to look back and they're going to say, yeah, we screwed up that game against the Miami Dolphins at home, a chance to go above 500 for the first time of the season, 4-5 now. Now, they're just a game and a half out in the NFC West, but pretty ugly game yesterday from them. There was nothing really that you watched from the Rams yesterday that you thought never got into a rhythm. I had plenty of time yesterday to watch a game because I don't know if you guys know this. I took public transportation yesterday, and I was in the middle of about 14 hours of just on kind of en route back to San Diego. I could have went to Boston yesterday if I wanted, or New York. I could have went to Maine if I wanted. I could took a flight to Philly if I wanted to. But just no rhythm at all. Couldn't score any touchdowns. A 2-6 Dolphins team, like I mentioned. The offensive line was bad. By the way, they're starting to get healthy, and they were bad. 4 sacks, got the tip balls, 1 for an interception. No running game at all. Kyron Williams, just no factor in the game. Kicker was good for the Rams. The problem is that's all they were doing. They couldn't score a touchdown, and they were struggling the entire time. So bad loss for the Los Angeles Rams. They fall to 4-5, and in the NFC West, still wide open, but I think that's a loss that the Rams are definitely going to remember. All right, like promised, certainly very appreciative to have him on, Mr. Mychal Thompson himself. MT, what's going on, brother? What is going on?
Well, let's see. Can I show you what's going on?
Oh, you'd give me a tour. You'd give me.
That's what's going on, baby. Just enjoying a beautiful day off here.
Okay. Can I ask you why? You do what you want to do, but do you want to take that phone and go a little bit closer? Kind of give us a little bit. Are you using your phone right now?
Yeah.
You want to take a little closer of a view there?
Well, let me see. Let me see if I can give you a better one. Well, I mean, didn't you see that view?
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it before. Look at that.
Yeah. Overlooking, you can see Catalina from my TV room. You can see San Clemente Island, 60 miles offshore, where the Marine SEALs go out there and do their exercises.
Wow.
It's so cool living here because since I'm just up the street from Camp Pendleton, the Marine base, so there's a lot of like helicopters.
Oh, yeah.
Navy ships go by the house. And sometimes I'm all kind of, when the Marines are helicopter pilots seem to go through training things, they fly right over my house or right outside my window. It's so cool. It's like I have my own private air show down here. I love it.
All right, Mychal, so you have fascination in a lot of things. What is your fascination? I mean, it is kind of the stuff that you're talking about, and we're kind of fortunate enough here in Southern California, whether it's in San Diego or it's in Camp Pendleton or it's you got the Navy towards Point Loma and Shelter Island. What's your fascination with some of these planes? And you and I, you've always had all these different conversations of things that interest you. What's your fascination specifically in like the military planes and all that stuff that goes on in SoCal there?
I love aviation. I'm an aviation enthusiast, aviation addict. If God gave me the choice and I was smart enough and brave enough to do it, and God was going to make me do it, if it says, Mychal, if you can't be an NBA player and play for the Lakers, Blazers, or Spurs who you played for, if I'm not going to let you do that, so pick another profession. What do you want to do? I'd say, you know what, God? I want to be a Navy pilot, a fighter pilot. Those guys are the coolest dudes on this planet. They are the most skilled professionals outside of the medical field. Because if you're a brain surgeon, if you're a surgeon of anything, obviously you're very special, very skilled. So I'm talking about just like in things outside of the medical profession, I think Navy pilots are the most skilled employees ever to be able to land a plane on a carrier deck in the middle of the ocean with only a limited space to land that plane going at 130 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour, whatever they're coming in at, to be able to put that plane down on that deck. And especially at night. Oh, I've listened to Navy pilots talk about how scary it is when they're landing on a carrier deck at night. And remember now, that carrier deck isn't like stationary; it's moving and it's going up and down with the ocean. And they said, even though the most experienced Navy pilots, carrier pilots, when they land on a carrier deck, by the time their tail hook catches the wire to stop the plane from going over the edge of the bow of the aircraft carrier, they're soaked in sweat because it's so tense.
God,
because you can't have a mistake. And it's to have the bravery and the skill to do that. I mean, that just fascinates me. And if I wish I was that good and that brave and that smart to be able to fly one of those F-18 Hornets or F-35 Raptors. the new age fighter pilots. Those guys are the coolest people going. Along with the Navy SEALs, of course, who just trained down the street from my house. Those Navy SEAL guys, they're the toughest human beings on this planet.
You ever watched? Yeah, I don't, Mike. I don't know if you've ever watched, but they have, what is it called? Buds, right? Buds is the training that they do. I don't know if you ever seen some of these YouTube videos of their actual training.
Oh yeah,
my mind can't comprehend what the hell they're doing.
Man, these are different people, man. They're special people. The training they have to go through to get to be a Navy SEAL, and how to use all the weapons, and the bravery and the toughness you have to be a Navy SEAL. They're different animals than us, that's for sure.
Do you ever go with all the trips that you obviously you're on a plane, it seems like a few times a month at least, right? That you're always on a plane. What's your, you ever talk to the pilots? Do you ever, get the fascination of just show me this, show me that? Do you ever spend time on any of these planes that you're on?
Of course. I've been up in what they call the jump seat before. It's a private charter, so you can't do this on a commercial flight, of course. But I've been up in the cockpit before and watched them take off. One time, the pilots let me start the engines, which is easy to do. You just push a button, pull a button and knob, and the engine starts cranking over. So I was able to do that. I've also gone to the Delta Airlines flight simulator headquarters in Atlanta. We've been there on a so-called field trip with the Lakers. They took a bunch of us guys over there, and they let us sit in the actual simulator and fly the plane. And it's as realistic as being in a real plane. That's how realistic those simulators are, because that's how they train the pilots to fly the planes and put them all through all kinds of certain air conditions that they fly through. So I was able to get into the simulator of a 737 and actually take the plane off and fly it and land it. And I landed it on the wheels. And when you're in the simulators, you're moving like you're in a real plane. It's actually moving and stuff. It's like you're sitting in front of the screen, because you can feel the movements like you are up in the air in a real plane. So when you come down and you touch the runway, you hit the actual thud, like boom, like you can feel it in the simulator. Those things are so advanced and so expensive. That was like one of the coolest things I ever did.
All right, you just showed a quick little view. I'm curious, Michael. Okay, you got a day off. You're not working. What is Mychal Thompson's? What's your morning routine? What do you typically do? Even if you're out traveling, you're in the hotel. What does Mychal Thompson do when he wakes up in the morning? What time do you wake up?
Well, not this. I wouldn't be doing this. Wasting my time talking to you. I'd be relaxed, watching all the news reports, watching First Take, having my cappuccino. I would be catching up with all the news on YouTube.
Do you work out in the morning?
No, I usually wait until around between 12 and 2, noon and 2 p.m. After morning cappuccinos and everything digests. So I at least if I have errands to run, go to the store, grocery store to pick up all my supplies. I go do that first, then come back and go on my walk in like early afternoon when the sun's a little higher and the sky's a little warmer. But outside my house right now, all my neighbors are going by, doing their daily walks. So on a day off like today, if I wasn't talking to you, I'd just be sitting there reading, catching up on all the news, political and sports. And then I would go to the store, get my supplies for the day, get something I need for dinner, go for a walk this afternoon, get my little exercise in, come back, have a little glass of champagne and nuts.
There you go.
To reward myself for a nice little exercise. Then I'll catch up on the news again. So I'm always on the iPad, on my YouTube, watching all the stuff I like to watch on YouTube. And then, of course, I'll wait for the tip-off for the Warriors and Mavs game tonight. And that's basically the extent of my day offs. So I try to do as little as possible around the house, try not to go anywhere unless I have to, because tomorrow, then it's a busy day. I'll leave early in the morning to go up to the station, hang out with Ireland and Mason, and get ready for the game all day. So on my days off, man, I just like to try to stay home as much as possible.
All right, so Mavs and the Warriors tonight. What, just your perspective? Obviously, Klay plays his entire career with the Warriors. This is his first year with the Mavs. What have you thought so far? What have you thought of the Mavs, and what have you thought of Klay so far?
The Mavs are 5-6, I believe. I think they're sub 500. So I'm a little disappointed after 11 games from what I've seen from them. They're a little bit inconsistent. They'll be good. They'll still be a playoff team, but I thought it'd be better than they are so far. And Klay seems to still be trying to adjust and fit into their style of play. It's totally different from what the Warriors' ball movement and man movement style, and sharing the ball more with the Warriors. So they need to improve, and they will. Just like last year, the Mavs started off slow and caught fire in the second half of the season, ended up in the NBA Finals. And I expect them to be that good again eventually. Going back to the Warriors tonight for his first return after leaving after so many years, it's going to be emotional. They'll put up a nice video tribute of him. The fans will welcome him back with open arms and give him a surrounding ovation. Of course, then they'd want him to lose, of course. And but it'll be a very emotional night for him to go back and see all of his old friends and his old fans.
When and you could kind of put yourself in, try as best as you can, put yourself in Klay's shoes. Is Klay trying tonight? Here it is. It's emotional. He's won 4 championships with the Golden State Warriors. His love for the Bay Area, I mean, clearly he had incredible love, and it was felt both ways. Is he also going out there and on the top of his mind, once you get to tip off, does that competitiveness come in, and Klay's trying to drop 35 and blow out the Warriors tonight at Chase Arena? Is that kind of the mindset you think will come into Klay once that game starts?
Of course, you're thinking about that all day. You want to go up there and get 40 on them, but you have to temper your emotions, because if you try too hard, then you might take yourself out of your game and hurt your team. So you can't want it so bad that you're going to go outside of yourself, outside of your comfort zone, and sort of not play team ball. But of course, the key is, I'm sure his teammates are going to want him to have a nice return home and have a nice game. So they'll probably look to get him some shots early. And if his shots go in, knowing Klay, if his first few shots go in and he feels like he's in a rhythm, then he wants to continue to go to shoot the ball and hunt his shots. But you have to be careful not to try to overdo it and try too hard and throw your game off. So you got to sort of temper your emotions and sort of settle your nerves down, calm down a little bit. And as they say, that old cliche, just let the game come to you and not try to do too much.
Mychal, were you, if I'd have told you 3 years ago, Klay Thompson's not going to finish his career with the Golden State Warriors, you've been around the league enough. I mean, even your time, you played with a few different teams, so nothing is forever. Would you have been shocked about that? Or, I mean, did you always just think Klay's not going to represent another team other than the Golden State Warriors?
Of course. I thought he'd be like Kobe, like Dirk, Tim Duncan, all those, Larry Bird, all those guys. Of course, yeah, Steph and Draymond. I thought those 3 guys, Steph, Draymond, and Klay, is going to retire together in a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years from now. And they'll all go out right off into that Golden Bay Area sunset together. So I was shocked that, and still am kind of surprised and shocked that he's not still a Warrior and not going to finish his career as a Warrior. So very disappointed too, because I was hoping that he would have that on his resume, play for one team and play with Steph forever. And the best backcourt that's ever been. So I was very disappointed, and still am, that he's not there and wasn't able to finish his career with those guys.
Does it? Sometimes we'll see. I'll give you a good example. I think it was last week. Paul George returned back. He's in Philly now, returned back to the Clippers, and he was getting booed by Clipper fans. And, part of the reason might be because they never won a championship. He ends up getting more money and signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. I know he had some stuff on his podcast, something along the lines of, Clippers were always kind of the B team in LA. They are. I think he was just telling the truth. Do you think players have, how do I put this? Do you think players, whenever you hear fans booing a player, is there just that perspective of a player's got to just go do what's in their best interest? You can probably look at it better than anybody else. How true is that when it comes to guys that are, we were just talking about Klay. You thought he was going to stay his entire career in the Bay with the Golden State Warriors. It didn't happen that way. I guess from a player perspective, how much of this business is just cutthroat and go make the decisions that's in your best interest? Because the teams and the organizations are going to do the same thing.
That's life, not just sports. Any business is like that. No matter people out there listening to you, watching your podcast, right now probably made the same decisions in their careers. Work for one company, another company comes along, or a business opportunity comes along, and they leave and they say, okay, I like where I am right now, but I got a better opportunity somewhere else, and I'm going to take it. And I'm sure a lot of those fans who were booing Paul George the other night are a bunch of hypocrites, because they probably made the same decisions in their professional life, whatever it may be, going from one job to the next. And that's all Paul George did. And that's what sports is, going from one job to the next. I mean, I don't understand how fans could boo a guy like him who's been a consummate professional. He wanted to sign with the Clippers. He asked them to sign with them. The Clippers offered him,
I think 3 years.
3 years, I think 3 years, 60 million or something like that. It's some crazy number now.
It was less than Kawhi. You're right. I think it was less than Kawhi's number.
Way less than Kawhi, and way less, maybe half. And I understand 20 million, 25, 30 million bucks a year is still generational money for the average person. But those fans who were booing him, okay, if the Clippers offered you 90 million and all of a sudden the 76ers say, here's 212 million, what would they do? So yeah, I know money. Maybe some people have enough money like Steve Ballmer where $100 million doesn't make a difference. But I don't understand how anybody could fault him for taking that Philadelphia offer compared to what the Clippers offered him. So that's just hypocritical to me when fans boo him and disrespect him in that way. Yeah, you're a fan. You can boo him. You want the Clippers to beat him. But to boo him for making that decision, then you're a hypocrite. Because I'm sure if you were booing, I'm sure you would take that extra $120, $130 million too over staying with your present company or your present job.
I think they know that, but I think they just feel like they're supposed to boo.
Yeah,
they have to boo, right? Like, yeah. But that perspective.
But I would never boo if I loved Kobe Bryant, and to me he should have always been a lifelong Laker. But if Kobe said, you know what, I want to go back to Philadelphia and finish my career there,
sure,
and he came back to the Lakers, I would never boo. I said he made a decision for himself, for his family. That's what he wanted to do. So why should I boo him and be mad at him for making a choice for his life and his career that I would do for myself?
I think players always, there's a little bit of, I think fans always in the back of their mind, did this player deliver while he was here? And if it's just based off of, did you win a championship or did you not? I'll give you one example. Remember when Dwight comes to the Lakers and then eventually decides he's going to go sign with Houston? Lakers they never won, right? While Dwight Howard was a Laker. I know they felt a certain way about that. They couldn't re-sign him because he decided to go play for a different team. But a player like Kobe, of course, mission accomplished, did everything. I mean, you can't do any more with one franchise like Kobe did. But the PG thing, yeah, I was curious about. Mychal, you followed the NBA and you followed basketball your entire life. And you've been around all these different eras of basketball. And just you've got a chance to see the greatest at their craft. What do you think of today's era of basketball? Are you a fan when you look back at some of the different eras in the game? And I don't know if this is, for you just immediately go back to the era that you were playing in. But what do you make of today's era of basketball? Do you like the style of play? What do you like? What do you dislike? Because I remember always listening to you on the broadcast, and there would be certain things that would bother you, but then you also had great appreciation for what the game is today. What do you feel about today's era?
I like how big the game is today. It's so worldwide and so popular now. Second most popular sport in the world next to soccer. But the game is all cookie cutter now. It's all threes. I like the era of 25, 30 years ago when you had dominant big men in the game. Great centers up and down the NBA. Now there's only like 2-3 great centers when you think about it. AD, Jokic, and Embiid. And after that, there's not any great big men. There are good, decent big men in the game, but not great big men like how it used to be 30, 40 years ago. So I miss seeing the great post players in the NBA. Now it's all come down and jack up a three. Even on the fast break, guys will come down and instead of cutting to the basket the way Aaron Scott do, they float out to the 3-point line so they can do a fast break three. So all the teams look the same. There's no offense being ran. It's all just high screen and come around the screen and shoot a three or throw up a lob. So to me, the creativity in the game isn't as great as it used to be. There's still good athletes out there, obviously good players. And the games are fun to watch for the most part, but a lot of the creativity in the offense has disappeared.
We'll go back. You think it will? There'll be an adjustment because I think what you just said about the big men, and you're probably right. Everything is kind of churned towards analytics. I want to say Wemby take 12 threes yesterday. I want to say so. It just kind of gives you an idea. Now, listen, he hit 6 of them.
He's 7'10".
I know, but he hit 6. He hit 6 of them, which is absurd. But I think, Michael, my point is that whatever the game used to be, is this just going to, is it now just we're running analytics and we are now told if we just take as many threes as possible, as quick as possible? Do you see the game adjusting at least a little bit back to what it was 25, 30 years ago, like you were saying?
No, I don't think so, because now centers today, 7-footers, don't work on their low post skills and scoring back to the basket. So no, that isn't being taught anymore. So it's all about wing players now, not even guards anymore, just wings and threes. That's what the game's all about now. So it's not going to go back to how it was back in the 70s and 80s with all the great mid-range players and low post players. Those days are over with.
It's so funny. You and I have joked around about this. We used to do the pre together. And I would say, can you imagine back in your era, or even in the 90s? 90s is a great era as well. Can you imagine that there's a 7-footer that can't use the glass from 6 feet away? They're, we kind of use the analogy. It's either athlete or it's basketball player. And for the most part, listen, don't get me wrong, there are incredible basketball players still in the game. But these bigs, they're athletes. A guy like Jackson Hayes or a guy like JaVale McGee or a guy. There were plenty of guys that DeAndre Jordan made so much money in the NBA because they were lob threats. But if you ask them, hey, go hit a 12-foot jumper, that's not part of the portfolio.
No, or make a post move, back to the basket move, the way Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Kareem, Bob Lanier, Artis Gilmore, Jack Sikma. The list can go on and on and on. Will Chamberlain, the way they used to score back in the days from the low post. But it's very rare that you see low post centers anymore asking for the ball in the post so they can destroy you down low. There are a couple of guys who can still do it. Jakob Poeltl from the Raptors can still score around the basket. Vucevic in Chicago, but they're not as dominant as they used to be 30, 40 years ago.
Did you see that quote? There was I've been wanting to ask you this question. This was probably a couple weeks ago. The coach of the South, Joe Mazzulla, talked about how he wanted the game to be more physical. And he even gave an example of basically saying, why can't we scrap anymore the way hockey does right now, or the way Major League Baseball, if somebody gets hit, the benches will clear or the bullpen will come out. What's the balance? I know that you probably think, I'm assuming, that the game is very soft today, that you do anything, all of a sudden there's a review. Hey, is that a flagrant 1? Is it a flagrant 2? What's the balance of having physicality a part of the game? You've always talked about the entertainment piece of the game. Nobody says anything really for the entertainment piece. There's not enough people running their mouth. Maybe you have an occasional Anthony Edwards that will do something a little bit different. What's the entertainment piece? What's the physicality piece? How do you think you can make the game more entertaining from that perspective?
Let the guys talk more trash to each other and to the referees, so give them a technical foul, because fans love it. Fans love to see players going at each other verbally or even physically without fisticuffs being thrown. And if someone throws a punch or something, instead of suspending them for 5 games and costing them $1 million in salaries, kick them out of the game and something like that. But you don't want too many fights breaking out, because those fights could fall into the first row and fall into the stands, and fans could get hurt because there's no guardrails like in a football field, even a baseball diamond on a hockey rink. The fans are separated from the participants. But in basketball, everybody's sitting close to each other. And if a brawl breaks out, then the fans could easily get involved and somebody could get hurt. But as far as making it more interesting, entertaining, let the guys talk trash.
Yeah,
I love it when guys trying to show each other up, or even argue with the referees more and tell the referees to shut up, how it used to be when I first came into the league. Now referees are so quick to call technical fouls. They're trying to take the emotion out of the game. Let the guys show more emotion by talking trash to each other. The fans love that when they see John Moran try to show up Gabe Vincent because he's too little. Or LeBron gives it back to Ja, and then Ja runs up on LeBron and gives him a bump and gets a technical foul, because they think, the fans, you can just feel the adrenaline from all the fans get pumped up when they see that. It brings more excitement to the game.
Why do you think the league takes that away? Because I know we could look at the refs and say, it's the refs' fault. Well, the refs are being mandated probably by the league to say, do this, do that. What do you think the reason is from the league to take away some of that just kind of the natural element of the game? That's what basketball has a lot of history where that's part of the blueprint of the game. Why are they taking that away?
Because a lot of people on the competition committee or the powers that be didn't play basketball, I guess, or play at a high level and understand the emotions that players go through on the floor when they're competing against each other. And they don't understand the entertainment value of seeing trash talking going on the floor when players are going at each other
Good for
verbally.
business. It could
It's
be good
great
for
for business.
business. Yeah.
Great for business. Nobody looks away and hides their eyes when Anthony Edwards is barking at some player, or players coming back at the Edwards. They all go, "Ooh, look at that!" It's like looking at a fender bender on the freeway. Everybody wants to stop and see it, even though hopefully nobody got hurt, of course, in an accident. But the people who run the NBA don't understand the emotions of the game, and sometimes guys are gonna want to talk to each other in the heat of competition. That's all in fun.
I always say I'm not going to look at the fender bender, and then I find myself right there,
Yeah,
Michael. I can't get my eyes off of it.
Yeah, you got to be a looky-loo. We all do that.
Even if it's on the opposite side of the freeway, well, I got to take a quick glance. Let me just take a quick look here. Look at all these lights.
Yeah.
You have. I want you, because I don't know if there's going to be too many people that can have your perspective because you've been around the league for as long as you have. LeBron last game. Let me just simplify this. Are we ever going to see anybody again that is still this effective this late in their career? I know Kareem was still really, really effective towards the end of his career. But here's LeBron closing in at age 40, 22nd year in the NBA. And Michael, he's still putting up triple doubles like it's nothing. He had 16 assists in the last game, and that's after AD went out. In all your history around the game of basketball, do you think we'll ever see somebody this late in their career still this effective like he is night in, night out?
I think two guys can still do it if they want to. Steph Curry, 36 years of age now, and he's still playing like he's 26 because Steph takes care of himself and doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. And I think
his style of play, right? Like the longevity of his style of play is a good thing.
Yeah, I think if Steph wants to play till he's 40, he could be shooting the ball and doing what he's doing if he wants to, because he has the work ethic and the dedication of a LeBron James to take care of himself. And he seems to have the passion for the game like LeBron has. So Steph definitely can keep playing at the high level that he is at. And the other guy who's still young, and because of his style of play, if he wanted to, I think he can play till he's 50. That's Luka. Luka plays like he's 50 years old now because he plays so slow and and below the rim, and he's never in a hurry. He plays like he's 40 years old. And that's just his style. So if Luka really wanted to play for another 15 years, I think he's 25 now, something like that, I think he can because of the style he plays. He just never in a hurry, doesn't rely on quickness or blazing athleticism. So from the way he plays, he could easily play till he's 40 if he wants to.
I'm surprised you said Luka, only because I know how you harp on a lot of these guys' bodies, right? You might look at a James Harden, and I remember just back in the day, you'd say stuff about James Harden, or you'd say stuff. There are a lot of people that were going after Jokic, a couple of years ago about his body, and Luka's. Well, I'm surprised Luka was on your list because of that. I mean, think of if he actually took care of his body, not because he's going to all of a sudden become Ja Morant and blow by people, but just more for the longevity.
Yeah, that's just it. He's chunky and a little chubby, but he still puts up crazy numbers. It doesn't seem to matter to him. You always look at Luka and say, geez, Luka, you need to drop about 20, 30 pounds, to be even better and to be even healthier. But he comes in, looks like a left tackle of the Dallas Cowboys, not the Dallas Mavericks. But nobody can stop him, even though he looks like a little chubby kid out there.
He gets it done.
Yeah, maybe Jokic plays the way his style too. Maybe if he wants to play till he's 40, it looks like he can stick around and still be getting triple doubles when he's 40 if he wants to.
Michael, what do you think of this Lakers team so far? Just your initial thoughts. They're 10 games in. They're 6-4. What were some things you like? Some things you're got a little concerned with?
The Lakers are good. You just got to stay healthy, of course. Their bench seems to be better with D'Angelo Russell coming off the bench now. Gives them 15 to 20 points off the bench. They needed that bench scoring, and it looks like he's going to bring that. It's worked since they put him on the bench, so you might as well keep.
I agree.
Keep it going. Keep him coming off the bench and starting Cam Reddish. So I think the Lakers will be right in the mix. One of the top 8 teams in the West as we go further in the season.
What's a perfect night for D'Lo? Because listen, whether you like it or not, his name is always brought up. It's been brought up a lot around trade rumors and things along those lines. For him to be his most effective self on the Los Angeles Lakers, what's a great night for D'Lo? And if you sat there and you had a conversation with D'Lo, would you give him any advice on what he's doing day to day?
I think just what he's doing, he's averaging about 17 off the bench in these 2 games. So if he can keep that up, and occasionally he'll get 20 because he's a streaky shooter. Sometimes he gets hot. So he just has to play within himself and just to keep doing what he's doing. So far, it's worked. So he doesn't have to change a thing as long as JJ keeps using him off the bench in this role.
Okay, I got a couple questions, just kind of put you on the spot here, but a couple. I think your take on some of this NBA stuff is always fascinating. The best era of NBA basketball was when?
The 80s, when Magic, Bird, and Jordan came into the league and took the league to worldwide prominence. So the 80s and 90s, the Jordan and Bird era. Now the other guys have come along and done well for the NBA too. Guys, Kobe, and LeBron, of course. But I think when Magic, Bird, and Jordan were at the height of their powers, that was the best.
Greatest team, and if it's your team, no one's going to argue with you. Greatest team you've ever seen in the NBA? Was it your Showtime era? Was it the Kevin Durant joining the Golden State Warriors? Was it the Shaq and Kobe? Greatest team that you've ever seen?
The Durant Warriors teams.
Really?
The teams that won the 2 titles. Nobody's going to beat them. I was in the Michael Cooper Hall of Fame weekend induction in Springfield, and we had dinner all together, and Magic and Coop, Byron, James Worthy, Bob McAdoo, Stu Lance. Who else was there? Who else was at the table? They were all yelling at me, attacking me because they heard me say that publicly. So we were all having a huge discussion about that. So it was like 7 of them against me, saying that my Showtime Lakers, Magic Showtime Lakers, would have beat that Warriors team because the Warriors team didn't have anybody to really match
up.
Who
stops Kareem?
Well, Kareem was obviously was still very, very good at that time, and he would have been tough. But the other matchups, I said the Warriors seemed to have the advantage or is equal, and plus they shot the ball so well that I don't see anybody could stop him. So to me, the Kevin Durant Warriors, those 2 years he was there, I was there. I watched every playoff game. Obviously, I watched every game on TV too. I've never seen a team that well balanced on both ends of the floor.
Well, I mean,
I've ever seen.
Michael, I mean, let's put this in perspective. The Warriors had already won an NBA championship without him. They were already basically becoming the class of the NBA. And if I told you who are the top 3 players in the NBA, Kevin Durant was one of them, wherever you want to put him, and he leaves the Oklahoma City Thunder and goes to the Golden State Warriors, it was checkmate in the NBA.
That would have been like the Showtime Lakers signing Larry Bird. That's what basically that move was like.
Let me. I know this is a complete hypothetical. Let's say KD did not leave the Golden State Warriors, and I'd actually be curious your thoughts on this. You think
6 in a row? 6 in a row. They'd have won 6 in a row if they'd stayed healthy, and he wouldn't have left. Simple as that. I saw how good they were. And obviously, in 19, KD got hurt and Klay got hurt. Mm-hmm. I always tell Klay and tell anybody, if they could have stayed healthy over 6-7 years together, they would have matched what Michael Jordan did easily. Nobody was going to compete with that team.
What's crazy about the injuries against the Raptors, and listen, that's part of the game, right? That's just, it happens. But KD gets injured. I think actually, if just Klay is still available, they probably beat Toronto.
Yeah.
And go from there. I know there's no way to get into his mind. You think Kevin Durant has any regrets of leaving that? One of the reasons why he signed with the Golden State Warriors was he can just play basketball. There's a beauty to the game. And it looks like he was watching from afar the way the Warriors play. The ball's always moving. You're kind of making that extra pass. And KD just wanted to play, in his eyes or in his vision, play that style of basketball. You think he has any regrets? I mean, if you think about his career since he left and some of the different teams that he's been on, or do you feel like, no, he kind of got his 2 and wanted to move on after that?
Yeah, he has to have regrets that he left because, I mean, I know he got hurt, but he was going to come back, and he has come back, and he's still Kevin Durant. He has to have thought. He went to Brooklyn to team up with Kyrie, didn't work out. He's in Phoenix, hasn't worked out. Maybe it'll work out this year because Phoenix is good this year. But he has to sit down his quiet, reflective times and think, man, if only I would have stayed, how many championships we could have had. Yeah, I got 2, but maybe I'll have 4 by now. So, yeah, I can't. I mean, it was the perfect situation. It was the perfect basketball team. I still can't understand why. I know him and Draymond Green had that very public row on the sideline, and that offended him, and he didn't like it. Obviously, I don't blame him for that, but man, I still don't understand why he had to leave and go try to win someplace else when you had found the perfect situation. It's like finding the perfect wife, and you figure, there's got to be somebody else out there better. You dump her. That's weird.
It's a good analogy. That's a good way to put it. And now he's on his 4th marriage, right? Like it was
looking for that perfect girl that he left behind. That's right.
Couple divorces after. You've seen them all, and I'm not going to ask you who's the greatest player of all time. Not that, because anyone can make a case. It could come from different eras. Kareem, is it LeBron? Is it Jordan? Is it Cole? You make the case wherever you want to. But the question I want to ask you is, who's your favorite player of all time? Like who's a player, and it doesn't have to be the greatest player ever, just the player that you just enjoyed watching most over the years, and whether this was before you were in the league, while you were in the league, or that chair that you get to sit in and watch NBA basketball every single night as you're calling Laker games, your favorite player that you've ever watched?
What a dumb question. Don't you know who that is?
Well, it could be Kobe, it could be Magic, it could be Kareem, it could be LeBron. I mean,
keep guessing.
Keep guessing. Okay, well, not your son, not Klay. I'm talking about just in general. You watch the game of basketball. You know the game of basketball the way you do. You watch certain players impact the game on a night in, night out basis. Other than you, if you say yourself, then we're gonna have an issue. Your favorite player of all time that you watch.
I don't understand this question. How is it not obvious to you?
Who is it?
I guess I got to tell people. I don't know. Some guy named Klay Thompson.
Well, I said other than your son.
Well, no, you didn't. You just said who's your favorite player of all time.
When you said it's obvious, put Klay to the side for a quick second.
All right, you should have said that.
Okay, well, put Klay to the side.
Right. Well, then it's
I know blood is going to come first before everything. I understand that.
But it should be obvious to you who my favorite player of all time is, that I enjoyed watching, that I grew up watching, that I idolized. Who do you think it is?
I know I know.
I'll give you a hint. He's black and tall. How about that? Jeez.
I know what you said about Kareem, and I know how much Kareem means to you. But I've also heard you say that if you were starting a franchise, you've talked about Magic, the greatest leader of all time. Yeah. You got a chance to sit in a seat and watch Kobe for 20 years.
Oh yeah. But it's Kareem. It's Kareem, but you're right about Magic. I'm going to start my team with Magic, even though Kareem is my all-time favorite player outside of my son, because I idolized him. He's the greatest player to me who's ever played, high school, college, and pro. But I would say I would start Magic because, number one, he's a winner. Number two, he's a great leader. And number three, man, he's such a great promoter for your business. So accessible to the fans and to the media. If you want someone to help grow your business, you want Magic Johnson to be your spokesperson, your PR guy, who's going to go out there and attract people to come spend money at your business, because he was so accessible and so good with the media, and knew how to promote not only himself but the Laker brand and the NBA brand.
I can't believe you didn't pick Klay. I mean, what kind of a father are you? You don't pick Klay as your favorite player ever.
Well, that's right.
Michael, final one. Look, this is, again, it kind of goes back to your time around the game. Game is tied, 10 seconds left. You got one player that takes the final shot. Put Klay to the side. All right, don't say Klay Thompson here.
Yeah.
Game on the line, most clutch player. Is it just simply Michael Jordan and that's it, or is there another player that sticks out to you with the game on the line?
I mean, to me, this question comes up all the time from not only you but other so-called experts, pundits, fans,
Okay.
and I don't understand how it's not so obvious who that player would be. Yeah, people would pick Kobe and Jordan or LeBron or Larry Bird, Kevin Durant, one of the purest shooters ever, Steph Curry, and they're all great candidates and good choices. But the game's on the line to win a championship or to win a game, and you have to have the shot where it can't be stopped, and you guys probably going to make it. What shot do you think it is, and who do you think it is? What's the most unstoppable shot in the history of basketball?
A hook shot.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Can I tell you Michael, most people wouldn't say that.
I
Most
know
people would not say Kareem.
because they, for some reason, they keep overlooking him because they're just. I hate to use the I word, but it kind of rhymes to pignorant. But I don't want to use that. But
You could say it. You could say it.
Kareem had the most unstoppable move and shot ever. Now you say, well, you could double team him in the post, but if you sort of set it up where you can't because of ball movement and a quick action, you can't double team it. And once he got into that swinging hook motion, he'd knock it down 75% of the time, and you couldn't stop it. So go inside the Kareem, let him do his move. That hook was automatic.
You agree or disagree with this? If you ask 10 people that question, you might be maybe 2 people say Kareem, and you're one of them.
Nobody would. Everybody would either say Steph, Jordan, Kobe, or maybe KD. Maybe those 4 guys would count. That would be the Mount Rushmore of guys that take the last shot. For listening to current fans today, pundits today, even some historians of the game. A lot of people, some people may say Kareem, but I would say the vast majority would pick Jordan or Kobe or Steph over Kareem. But I don't understand it. Kareem's, man, he made that. I saw that hook shot up close. There was nothing you can do about it, and it was going in.
Where's all your rings?
Over there in the underneath my TV.
What's the count now?
Let's see. I've got nine NBA championship rings.
Okay.
Then I got 2. I got a World Cup championship ring, Team USA, and Olympic championship ring, Team USA. So 11 altogether. 11 rings. Wow. Yeah.
You know, when people say who's been the most successful NBA player of all time, do you just show the 11 rings?
Me and Bill Russell. Yeah.
Tom Brady's got nothing on you.
Yeah, and I guess Phil Jackson. I think Phil Jackson has 13. 5, yes, 11 as a coach and 2 as a player. So Phil Jackson has surpassed me and Bill Russell.
Are you still, after Laker games, making your way down to In-N-Out, or what was the thing you used to do? You'd make the guacamole and you'd get the chips from the arena. Is that still happening?
I got my Tostitos from the arena, from my concession buddy, who gives me the Tostitos for free because I give him tickets every now and then.
Can I just tell you, Michael, I think he's winning that negotiation. If you're giving him Laker tickets and he's giving you a bag of Tostitos, I think he won that negotiation, but you're a very kind man.
No, I think it's an even split because those Tostitos are so good, especially when I make my guacamole. I put it in the fridge. I put the seeds in the guacamole.
Keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh. I know about that secret. So by the time I get home at night, the guacamole looks like it's still freshly made. Hasn't browned or anything like that. And so I still have that. And then, I'm still stopping. I don't stop every game, but every now and then I'll stop off at the In-N-Out, the new In-N-Out and the San Clemente, in the San Juan Capistrano area, just off the San Juan exit there. They have a brand new In-N-Out just opened up a few months ago. So I'll stop there around 11 at night, 10:30, 11 at night. Sometimes the lines are still long, but sometimes, like the other night I stopped there was like 2 cars in line. I couldn't believe
it. Never happens. That never happens.
That was like around 10:30 at night. I couldn't believe I saw it In-N-Out. It's like 2 cars in line. I'm pulling in there, go grab my In-N-Out.
Are you watching a lot of college and NFL or no?
I watch the NFL, but I usually watch Baltimore.
Lamar, right? Yeah.
I watch Lamar, and the other games on. Like last night, I checked the Rams out, but I don't like sitting around all day watching the games on Sundays. But I'll watch the games, but I make sure I watch every Ravens game And then
Have you
college
lost,
football.
have you lost faith in your boy?
Yes, yes. Until he proves that he can beat not Lamar, but Patrick Mahomes
Mahomes?
playoffs. I still love Lamar, but so far he's been Mr. Regular Season and not Mr. Playoffs.
Not good.
That doesn't impress me. Yeah, okay, he's the most dynamic player in the NFL. He should or could win his third MVP, regular season MVP award this year. The Ravens kind of win out. They lost. No, they won the other day. So if they win out, he probably will win his third MVP. But to
Means
me,
nothing.
means absolutely nothing until he can get past Patrick Mahomes and win a Super Bowl. I mean, and I love Lamar, but I just have no faith in him when he comes to the playoffs because he hasn't done it yet in 7 years. And he last year at home against the Kansas City Chiefs,
Chiefs didn't even play well.
They hold Mahomes to one touchdown in the second half, and you still can't win. So until Lamar beats Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs or gets to the Super Bowl and wins it, I'm not going to believe in him in the playoffs until it does it. I mean, so far he's been Peyton Manning, who Manning for a lot of years was Mr. Regular Season. Great. Couldn't get past Tom Brady until he finally broke through. So until Lamar can prove to me he can win 3 playoff games, I'm not believing in him once the regular season is over until he proves it to me. Hopefully, I'm praying that he does it this year because I believe me, folks, I love Lamar. He's my favorite player, maybe one of my favorites of all time. But I just don't have any faith in him in the playoffs. He just
you shouldn't until he does it. Yeah, until he proves it in the playoffs, you shouldn't. I mean, last postseason was a perfect example. I mean, you've been on the hype train on Lamar for a long time.
When I saw him as a sophomore at Louisville, I was telling everybody, have you guys seen this kid at Louisville? This is the most dynamic college football quarterback I've ever seen, more so than Michael Vick. Everybody's like ho-humming and, he's not really a quarterback and sort of downplaying him. And then when he was time to get drafted, I was saying, why is everybody passing on Lamar Jackson? I couldn't believe it. It's unbelievable.
Well, Michael, I know your love for the NFL, your love for Lamar, but I appreciate you, brother. I really appreciate you taking the time and doing this. I know, I don't see you every day anymore. You know, it's kind of it's different now. But I do appreciate when I reached out to you. You were happy to do this, so thank you for setting this up.
Well, we miss you around the station, and even though Travis and DeMarco, they do a good job, it's just not the same without you.
I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you, buddy.
Right.
Nothing but love. Look at all the Bahama. I love the representation here. Oh, yeah. You got the sweater on. You got the flag in the background. You're living a good life there, Michael. You're living a good life there.
I'm about 2,800 miles away from my home, but I always keep all these reminders around here from where I'm from. And even though I love being an American and love living in America, to me, that's the prettiest, the most beautiful flag, along with the stars and stripes, of course. But to me, that is the other most beautiful flag in the world.
That one's not I got no argument there. Well, go enjoy that beautiful view you have there. I took away from your morning routine, but I appreciate you joining the show, Michael.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Michael. All right, that is Mychal Thompson right there. Mychal Thompson. Good man right there. Very appreciative of his time. The man is he's an interesting dude. I don't know what else to tell you guys. He's just a very fascinating dude, an interesting guy. So good man right there. Okay, this is a real story. I'm going to tell this story here real quick. I love listening to Mychal Thompson talk and Tostitos and basketball. I swear on my life, I'm not kidding here, okay? I did the Lakers broadcast for 5 years. 5 years I did the Lakers broadcast. And out of nowhere, always Mychal would just walk up and he has like a bag of Tostitos. I'm like, what the hell? Where is Mychal getting it from? Does he have like some kind of thing with the Tostitos guy? And this guy is straight up giving a pair of Laker tickets. Mychal obviously has tickets to the games, giving up a pair of Laker tickets for a bag of Tostitos. I'm like, Mychal, I can go to Costco. I can get you even more Tostitos. I could come in and give you Tostitos for 10 straight games. Whatever the hell you want, just let me know. I'll go make it happen. But only Mychal Thompson. What I do like, what is kind of cool is listening to Mychal when it comes to his perspective on the NBA. And, he's got such a unique perspective. This guy has been watching the NBA for so long. It doesn't matter. I mean, think about Bill Russell, obviously the way he idolized Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I said favorite player to watch And this guy's all over me on Klay. I'm like, well, I understand that it's blood, but he's got such a unique perspective. So he might look at players today like LeBron and Kevin Durant and things along those lines, but I thought his era, the 80s and the 90s, that's his favorite era of basketball. I guess it's not too much of a surprise. It's an era. I grew up, my era was in the 90s. So even, I don't know, is that my favorite era or is my favorite era? No, my favorite era is Shaq and Kobe. That's my favorite era of basketball. But getting his perspective on all that, it's pretty damn cool. I've been to Michael's house before. One time I've been there. Yeah, that view, that's real deal. That's it. You don't get any better than that view. Let's just say that the Thompson family have done well for themselves. But the dude is still incredibly humble guy, very, very normal and regular. Will barter 2 Laker tickets for a bag of Tostitos. That's Mychal Thompson. That's what he'll do. So great stuff from Mychal there. Let's see some of these comments here, and then we'll some of this other stuff. I had some other things that I wanted to get into in today's show, but to be honest with you, I think it's just going to be better to do it tomorrow. Some trade rumors out there, some Laker contracts that I wanted to get into, but I'm going to wait on some of that stuff. All right. Fascinating dude for sure. Mychal, MT, cool. 100%. MT is just, man, he's just chill as hell. There were a lot of times where I would be with Mychal and, getting ready to do the pregame show. And Mychal, one of the funniest things working with Mychal, listen, Mychal's not doing this because he needs a paycheck. Mychal is doing it because he enjoys what he's doing. But there'd be a lot of times where I look at Mychal and Mychal would be watching something on his iPad and, I'm ready to start the pregame show again, whatever it is. And I just look at him and be like, all right, let Mychal do his thing. When Mychal's ready, Mychal will be ready. But shout out to Mychal for coming on the show. All right, let's see what else we got here. See if we got any more comments here that I'm just going to run into here real quick, and then we'll go from there. MT a vibe, no question about it. How about Mychal saying the greatest team that he's ever watched in the history of basketball is the Kevin Durant Warriors? Yeah, you better believe I'm going to cut that clip up and put that out on his own. The Kevin Durant Warriors. I still think the Showtime era Lakers beats that Warriors team because I don't know who the hell stops. I have no idea who stops Kareem. They literally don't have a big man. I'm sure there's a lot of people. I think the Shaq and Kobe Laker era would go up all day long against that team right there. Okay, a couple things to get into real quick, and then we're gonna call it a day. There's a couple things I want to do tomorrow, but one thing really stuck out with me yesterday when I was doing the show with Trevor Lane. By the way, that show had great views, so thank you very much for everybody that watched that show. And please subscribe to the channel if you guys have yet to subscribe to the channel. We got over 26,000, so thank you. I know I was pushing for that, so let's slowly keep working. I'm a base hit type of guy. I don't need to hit home runs or grand slams, even though I think Mychal this morning was definitely that was a triple. It was a triple right off the wall. But one of the things Trevor Lane said yesterday that I'm going to spend a little bit more time on, contracts that the Lakers have out there that are all under the Lakers front office and Rob Pelinka, something to pay attention to. We're going to do tomorrow. There's been a couple of trade rumors that are out there we'll get into as well. And then Doug McCain will come on tomorrow, and we're going to talk Dodgers and Roki Sasaki. So we're going to spend some time on him and what exactly – just how big of a decision that's going to be for all Major League Baseball of wherever he eventually goes. We're going to do that as well. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I know I don't typically do that long of an interview, but it is Mychal, and I definitely want to spend some time. Definitely want to spend some time hanging out with Mychal and having that chat and having that conversation. So thank you for tuning in this morning. I'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m., hang out. Doug McCain's going to be here as well. We'll mix in some Dodgers into the conversation. And then, of course, tomorrow night, Lakers and the Grizzlies will be back again. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll get back with you guys tomorrow.